My name is Michael Genovese. I'm the Chief Medical Officer of Sierra Tucson in Tucson, Arizona. And we treat patients suffering with trauma and addiction. We are a residential treatment facility. We work with patients who have been treated all over the world, who are still seeking relief. And we're reaching out to communities that are underrepresented in terms of being treated. I think that it's true of the Jewish community, but it's not unique to the Jewish community. I think lots of communities have been afraid to step out and discuss difficult issues like this. And I think education is the first step. I think if we can talk about it at first and we can educate people, the second step is healing.
So my name is Rachel Pill, and I'm the Cultural Sensitivity Coordinator, meaning that I go into Sierra Tucson and other residential treatment programs that we run, and I teach the staff, everybody from the maintenance staff all the way up to the Chief Executive Officer and all the clinicians about different cultures. And the culture that I represent right now is the Orthodox Jewish community. This is a way that we can make people comfortable, and that's part of what the issue is. People are quiet because they're scared. People don't understand. And as Dr. Genovese just said, it's about education. Communities are made up of people. Every human being is scared. When something scary happens, we are scared. When we're afraid that a terrorist attack might happen, we're afraid. When sexual abuse happens, we're afraid. It's not that people want to make it go away because they're mean or because they're awful. It's because by human nature we're afraid. And our responsibility for the solution is education, education, education. And we have to take that responsibility. The people who already understand, the people who are out there helping, it's our responsibility to go educate. And I don't care if I have to go and visit Rav after Rav after Rav and community leader after community leader. I will do that. I've done it before, and we can do it again. And that's the only way we're going to change things. In addition, making places that people can go for help where it is comfortable, where we will provide what they need for Shabbos and kashrus and understanding, that also will make them comfortable. But it's a slow process.
Listen, I'm a doctor, and so I feel that patients can go to their doctor, and I think about what are the consequences of not acting? What are the consequences of not talking about what happened to your children? How's that going to affect them down the line? We talk about the risks of treatment sometimes. I think the larger risk is not availing oneself of treatment and letting the consequences fall where they may, because then we're condemning that child to a life of perhaps addiction, perhaps depression, perhaps even worse. So I think that going to someone that you trust, and in the world I live, that's your physician, and starting there and trying to get the help there when you can.
So I guess in the world that I live in, the first stop would be my Rav. And I agree with the question, is that what do we do about where we're told don't go, don't speak, don't talk about this? I don't know if anything related to sexual abuse is ever going to be totally safe to talk about, because it's so horrific. It's every parent's greatest nightmare. It's every person's greatest nightmare, which means it's every Rav's greatest nightmare. There are abusers everywhere. And so if there are abusers in every part of life, there are also the really good people in every part of life. And there are the Rabbanim who are wonderful, but who are scared. They're overwhelmed. And so part of what we're doing here right now is we're collaborating. We've got a lot of people together. We're talking. We're providing support to each other so that when a Rav gets approached with something like this, he doesn't feel afraid and alone. If I feel afraid, I just don't want to deal with it. If I feel overwhelmed, I just don't want to deal with it. If I know that I have 4 people to call who will help me, who will support me, who will lead me and show me what I should do, I'll be more likely not to say to the person, shh, go away. And that's what we have to start doing slowly. Do I ever think it's going to be that sexual abuse is like la-di-da, it's like getting a throat culture? I do not think so. It's just too scary. But we've done it with domestic abuse. We've done it with addiction on some level, and now this is the next hurdle. And those of us in this field who have been doing this a long time, we're not afraid of the fight, and we're going to do the fight, and that includes educating Rabbanim, educating the community about what sexual abuse is and how to protect yourself and how to have a voice and where there are safe places to go.
When I started practicing medicine, it was shameful for people to admit that they had depression. And we've overcome that to a large degree. When I started out, it was still shameful to admit that there had been abuse or that there's been addiction. We're overcoming that now. There's hope because the treatment is getting better. There's hope because people are talking about it. There's hope because we care.